Okay, so you're ready to start paper piecing, but you don't know where to start. You've hit the right video because I'm going to show you how to get started, to get your fabric stacked and ready to sew, and how to glue on that first piece. Welcome back. My name is Jenny. Hello if you're new to my channel. I'm here to help you with anything and everything Quiltworx, paper piecing, and just general quilting. If that sounds like something you need a little more of in your life, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's my main focus, is helping you become successful in your paper piecing journey. So let's get right to it. It's time to start paper piecing. Today I'm going to show you how to get your project laid out and stacked and how to start on section 1. I know when I first started paper piecing, that was the most confusing piece because it's backwards. It's like a mirror image. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make sure you get that piece on there correctly. I'm going to show you how to stack your papers and get them in order. I'll show you some tips and tricks on how to get started on that first piece. So stick with me. Okay, here we are at the sewing machine, and this is my kind of little workspace here. So let's take our goodies out here and see about getting them. I'm going to put the background template off to the side because we won't be using that right away. So basically what you need is you need your stack of fabrics and you need your foundation papers. What I like to do is look at how many sections I have on my sheet. That should tell me how many chunks of fabric I have. So if I look here, this is section 1, and then we go all the way over to the other side, it's section 9. So that tells me that I need to have 9 pieces or 9 stacks here. So the way that the patterns usually tell you to stack your fabrics is to start with the highest number first and then work forward to piece 1. And then as you see here on the foundation paper, it also tells you that this should be template S1. These section 3 is S2, 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 and S1. These are all your background pieces. And then down here, we've got section 2, 4, 6, and 8. And these are your background spikes, which if you remember in the cutting, those were 1 3/4 inch by 7 inch rectangles, which are right here. So let's go ahead and find which one is going to be section 9, and we'll start getting them organized. The other information that I gave you when we were cutting these out was to put your paper clip on the sew side. And the reason I do that is when you stack your fabrics and get them ready to sew, you'll want to make sure that the sew side is facing away from you, because that's how you grab them to start sewing. So this one here says section 9, so that's going to be the first one. Then we know that the spike template, it doesn't have a paper on it, so I'm just going to stack that. It's going to be section 8. Then we're going to find section 7. Then we're going to do section 6. Then let's go to section 5. Then 4. Then 3. Then 2. Then section 1. Now in this bag we have enough to make 2 sets of 9. For the desert sky, you need to, if you remember on the bag that we had to do 18 pieces, and those basically are set in 2 stacks of 9. That's how we divided our fat quarters, is into a stack of 9. So that's why we're going to be, there's 9 pieces of fabric in each of these stacks. So we're going to end up doing a total of 18. You can do just 9 at a time, or if you want to do all 18 of them at a time, then just double stack your fabrics. Then we're just going to double stack our fabrics here. So I've got my section 9, section 8, 2 of section 7, then another section 6, then 2 of section 5, another stack of spikes, then section 3, another spike, 2 sets of those, and section 1 is right there. And you'll notice that section 1 does not have a sew side. That's because we glue on that first piece. All right, now that everything's laid out, we're going to get ready to get our section 1 glued on. But one thing I want to point out is every piece here is a different color, and we want to make sure that we keep those in order. So what you should do is on the back of your paper, you should number your units 1 through however many you have. And I've decided to do all 18, so we're going to number them 18, 17, all the way down to 1. All right, numbered them all the way down to 1. So that way, if you stop working on your project or it falls off your table and they get all messed up, you can put them back in order so you get the fabrics in order. The best thing to do when you're getting ready to figure out how to place your piece, when you place your piece 1 on, it's going to be the wrong side of the paper to the wrong side of the fabric. That way the right side of the fabric is going to show up on this side of the paper when you're done with your foundation piecing. So what I like to do is take a look at the template, and you can see this outline right here, this kind of little triangle right here, this outline, and then look at the template and see which direction that has to be. Now if I had my fabrics sitting like this, I can see, well shoot, that piece is upside down, so we'll go like this. Then if I were to flip these over, which now the wrong side of the fabric is up, that template is going to be reversed. See how there's a little flat piece right here and there's a flat piece right here on the or a straight piece? That's how these are going to line up. So we flip them over and that's how it goes. All right, once we figure out what orientation our section 1 fabric pieces need to be in relation to our foundation paper, then what we're going to do is flip both of these over. So I'm going to take off the paper here, and then I'll flip over. So now piece number 9 is on the bottom. Then I'm also going to take my foundation papers and flip those over. So this is paper number 9. But as you notice, when we flip the papers over, section 1 is no longer here. Section 1 is over here. So then what I'll do is take over, basically flip my paper and my fabrics opposite of each other. Now that the papers are all flipped over and we're ready to start putting our fabrics onto the foundation papers, then you might think, okay, now how can I see and know where to put the fabric on the back side? So there's a couple of different things you can do. In the pattern, Judy will tell you to take a pencil and mark your lines on the back of the paper, which if you have a light box, that makes it a little bit easier. You can kind of see here in the background, I've got one of those new Caterpillar lighting tables, which helps. I use this as my sewing surface, and it has a cutting mat on it, so I can use both of these as I'm working. But if you don't have a light table, you can put it up to a window or anything, and you would just take a pencil and trace all of these lines so you'll know where the fabric pieces need to go. The other option is if you don't have any way to trace the papers, you can take your folding template and you can place that right on the line and just make a fold there. So then you can see the fold and you'll know that that piece of fabric needs to cover this triangle here. Since I'm using my light table, I'm going to go ahead and use that so I can see where these lines are in the background. Hopefully on the video it will show through. So now we're ready to place section 1. And as I told you before, I like to use Scotch repositionable glue. If you don't have the repositionable glue, then just a regular old glue stick will work. A Yoo-hoo glue stick like this, or any Elmer's glue or anything like that. The reason I like to use the repositionable glue is when you go to take your papers off, that this fabric is not going to stick to the back of the paper. It's repositionable, so I'll show you here as I put a swipe of glue there. Then I'm put my piece of fabric there. And maybe I didn't get it lined up exactly correct, so I can tear that paper off, or tear the fabric off, and see there's no paper residue. There's no glue residue on the back of this fabric. But what you're going to want to do is make sure, so the dark line, I'll turn this so you can see the front. The dark line is what you're going to be sewing on. This small dashed line is the 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that's where the fabric needs to get to. So if we're putting a piece of fabric to cover up section 1 here, we want to make sure that the fabric is going to cover at least a 1/4 inch outside of this black line here. So at least a 1/4 inch out here, a 1/4 inch up around the top, and at least, if you can, a 1/4 inch past this dashed line. So I'm going to flip this back over. Using my light table, I can see that dashed line pretty well. Then I'm going to place my fabric down. And I'll turn it around the back, you should be able to see the dark section right here on that fabric. It comes all the way over to here, and it comes down and covers that up. You're going to want to have the fabric so it's a little bit on the outside here and a little bit outside of that 1/4 inch line. So I'm just going to go through, and we are going to get this ready for chain piecing. So I'm going to glue the section 1 onto all 9 of my papers. So I'll speed up the tempo and we'll meet you back here when I'm all done. Okay, there you have it. All these pieces are glued onto section 1, and we're ready to start using our add a 1/4 ruler to trim our fabric pieces down here on line 1, and then grabbing the next piece and actually doing some sewing. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks so much for watching my video today. This is your Quiltworx 101 Beginner Paper Piecing Series, and we'll get you paper piecing in no time at all. If you find my tips and tricks and tutorials helpful, please consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. That way you'll be notified the next time I post a new video. Hope to see you next time. Take care.